Friends, family, community, people watching out for each other, people watching out for customers, looking out for the best in everyone. And it's not hard to find the best in everyone when everybody's doing it. Employees, their value and what they mean to us here at Barber Ford, the fact that they would invest that much of their life and their time in Barber Ford just goes to show how much they're engaged in not only what we do, but why we do it, our core values, our community impact, our community involvement.
In 2016, we were contacted by Barber Ford to find out how they could better support members in our community through the American Cancer Society and through a one-of-a-kind give back program. We have been honored to receive the largest gift that anyone has ever donated to the American Cancer Society from Barber Ford.
Kids Food Basket is a community-based organization that is committed to attacking childhood hunger. We are so grateful for the support of Barber Ford in helping us to attack childhood hunger. They have been an amazing partner, helping by providing food donations, financial donations, and importantly also time. Barber Ford employees come and spend time to help us prepare the meals that we give these children for the nourishment that they need.
Giving back to different organizations throughout the community, it's something where it means a lot to us when we see employees that we work with every day go to the next level as far as their giving back. It's not just about the dealership, but it's about the employees giving back as well. We like, as a dealership, that's one of our core values as far as responsible financial success and giving back, but we can't do that unless the employees have bought into that 100%. And when they see that they're giving back, it's a great feeling. Everybody comes back and it's all different departments and it's everybody doing it together, so they have fun, but they're leaving an impact somewhere, and that's really neat to see. Friends, family, community.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series.
The Irish Hills of Michigan, We sit here tonight in the Gander Outdoors trucks at the 2 Mile Michigan Speedway in Brooklyn. The 18 degrees of banking and the sweeping corners, the long straightaways provide some of the fastest racing you will find in any circuit and any stock car in the NASCAR sanction. And the Dreamer Racing Series takes their turn here tonight. It's going to be a special event for the series. It is the DRS Pro Series presenting the Forgotten Eagles of Michigan 200 here tonight, and of course there'll be 100 laps of racing in the trucks on the 2 Mile track. Giving you the calls here tonight is going to be myself, Corey Silva, and of course Brandon Krutz in the booth with me as we've been kind of calling these races over the past month or so. Again, round number 5 out of 15, Brandon, and I mean the past, if anything, month or so has been exclusively short track. So for the first time in, well, I'm going to say since early May, here we are fighting some high speeds here at Michigan.
Yeah, high speeds and, quite a big step up from the half-mile racetracks, Corey. 2 Mile, fairly high-banked oval, and, coming off of a streak of short tracks, this should be an interesting race for these guys that have been trying to practice all week to get their setups right.
Right, and again, just because this is the Forgotten Eagles of Michigan 200, I do want to, as he did want to say a couple words about it, bring league owner Dustin Slider into the booth as he did want to talk about this event, so I'm going to bring him in right now.
My qualifying lap.
Oh, Dustin, sorry I got you off guard there, but I know we are in the Forgotten Eagles 200, and I know you wanted to kind of air a couple words about the meaning of tonight's event.
What's going on, Corey? Are we on the broadcast right now?
Yes, we are.
Oh, Jesus, here I am turning a lap. I'm sorry, I was focusing on the lap here. But no, the Forgotten Eagles is a fantastic organization. I've been a part of them for probably the better part of 10 years. They're a 100% volunteer organization. Every last dime we raise goes directly to Michigan vets in need. To me, that it's a cause near and dear to my heart, and any donations that we can collect during this broadcast would be fantastic, and they'll go towards they'll directly benefit a vet. I posted on Facebook, on the Dreamer Racing Series Facebook page, just a donation button, but just to give you guys an idea, there's a lot of other organizations out there that help vets. The difference is that all of our donations that we collect will go directly towards a vet. So we've raised $40, $60, something like that. Give you an idea, that might be a heat bill, that might be partial labor for a wheelchair ramp that needs to go to get installed. It's just a fantastic organization. I don't know if anyone's here from Michigan, but if anybody would be willing to join up or donate for the cause, would be greatly appreciated. Any and all help would, even just a like and a share here on Facebook to raise a little bit of awareness. We got 2 teams out here running Forgotten Eagles paint, DRS Barber Ford, and then the Max Development's going to have Forgotten Eagles on the hood of their trucks as well.
All right, Dustin, I get a good cause, and in the description of the YouTube video, and we will get it on Facebook as well, is a link to donate. So sorry for interrupting your lap. Hope it went well, but we'll be talking to you maybe in the race, and if not, soon afterwards.
Appreciate it, Corey. It's not the first time I've been last.
All right, so sorry for catching you off guard there. I thought we'd planned ahead of time. But very quickly, I do want to bring up the point standings here heading into race 5. Of course, the team standings first on the docket. Glovebox Racing leading it down by 24 over TI Racing. And mind you, Glovebox has not won a race this season. Strictly has been on pure consistency that team has been doing what they need to do. And obviously that, again, if you haven't been following the series here, this series is all about the teams. It is all about team success, more so than the driver standings, but the driver standings is important, and we will pull that up quickly for you. Again, Brandon Holder, he is that glove box driver, and he has been The points leader for a couple races now by 5 points over Rabiati, who's won 2 events. So again, shows how much consistency does matter, but we are getting ready for a starting lineup. So let's give it to you. The PTR TV starting lineup here tonight from the Michigan Speedway. On the pole in the number 70 DRS Express Toyota/Ford is Doug Lemons and Eddie Kerner on the outside of the front row. Alex McCullum in 3rd, Blake Neer in 4th, and we have John Houston in 5th, Ryan Campbell in 6th, 7th and 8th, Jimmy Mullis, peaked antifreeze driver, and then Robbie Oddie, their 2-time winner this season, in the 8th spot.
Starting in the 9th position is going to be Jake Matz, and starting 10th, it's going to be Mark Love, Connor Oaksrick, Corey?
Here, we'll go with it.
Sorry, Connor. Gabriel Wood starting in the 12th position. 13th going to be Ryan Duchette. Dustin Slider starting at 14th. 15th going to be Brandon Holder. Rounding out the top 16th is going to be James Curl.
James Curl, I've heard that name on a PTR TV broadcast in its early days. James Milbacher in 17th, Alec Daffin in 18th, Chris Canfield in 19th, and I've heard this name before, Evan Black rolling off in the 20th spot. Perry Snelson in 21st, Tyler King in 22nd, Doc Stout in 23rd, and then rounding out your top 24 is Ryan Blanchard, and just to round out the field, because I think we're on the tail end of it, Charles Lahr, Rob Slider, and then Frank Morales, the 27 drivers on tonight's grid.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's your PTR TV starting lineup of the night. These guys go to get around the Michigan International Speedway, Brooklyn, Michigan, for 100 laps of racing action. So just a reminder, these guys are running open sets. So starting out, they're coming off of practice and how their truck felt as the track changes. These guys will be able to make setup changes throughout the race. So should be interesting to see how everything goes for these drivers here tonight, and obviously a lot different than the short tracks that they were coming off of the last few weeks.
Yes, indeed, and again, the weather conditions, just quickly to get through details as we are on the one pace lap, 80 degrees in the air, 100 degrees on the track, 2-mile-an-hour wind, and then our keys to the race here tonight, as we've had a couple broadcasts here at Michigan recently, keep up your momentum. Got to stay on the proper lines here. Very easy to lose time here. And then line-sensitive track. Don't want to be too low on the track. And then, of course, pit strategy. Michigan is very conducive to long green flag runs. So we'll see if that does come into effect here tonight.
So these guys stacked up, doubled up, ready to go green flag racing this time around as the iRacing Ford Mustang official pace car will make its way into pit road this time by. On your front row, it's a couple of really fast drivers, so these guys are ready to get things underway.
In the Geico restart zone for the initial green flag, and
big stack up behind the leaders.
Yeah, Doug Lemons, some issue happened with him. He did not get up to his pole starting position, and he had to go through full bore to get that lead. A very interesting start, one I have not seen before.
That's why I was kind of so hesitant to call that start, Corey.
Yeah, and I was wondering why you didn't take over, but Lemons out to a half-second lead in interesting style, but...
Yeah, I was watching to see what that 70 car would do because I saw him coming full bore, and
he's given some spots back right now.
Yeah.
Whether by voluntarily or by league order, he is given spots back now. Again, he wasn't able to fire off the grid immediately, and league owners not happy or not giving him his spot back because he did not get off the grid at the allotted time. So that will give Eddie Kerner in the lead with Alex McCullum in a side-by-side battle for that lead off corner number 2.
Caution flag out on the speedway already, so
that's Chris Canfield. The Moats Auto Exchange machine is a round in 2, along with appears to be a couple other drivers already, so a very early caution. That's the 88 machine of Alec Daffin sideways in corner number 2, so we'll go back on the replay and try to see what happened. On our chopper cam, the 98 and the 77, just tight quarters racing there, and then the 88 has nowhere to go. I think I saw, was that Evan Black in his original start here. Yeah, Evan Black and his DRS start made it at a combined 3/4 of a lap.
Yeah, not the way that any of these guys wanted it to go on just lap 2 of this thing, so...
Yeah, it came to the issue of the 98 and the 77, Brandon. We talked about before about how Michigan is with the groove, and sorry, but this camera is not going the way I needed to. The 98 and the 77 at Michigan, you don't want to be all the way on that yellow line, so the 77 was trying to stay in that groove that is one lane up off the bottom. That's kind of the ideal line here. The inside groove, it's not really usable for more than a couple laps, if even that much. So they were both fighting for the same piece of real estate, and unfortunately for the 98, the 92, and as well as the 88, and I believe even maybe Frank Morales as well, they already have damage very early into tonight's efforts.
So already some takers on pit road also. Got the 10 car coming down. Jimmy Mullis coming down with the 96. So a couple of front runners already making their way onto pit road.
At the latter half of the field down pit road already. And Brandon, we've covered quite a bunch of Michigan races lately. We covered the Premier Race Network. However, in the Cup cars, we've covered the Red Light Scrambler series the other day in the Xfinity car. So the first time, I guess we complete the Michigan trifecta, if you will. Here we are in the truck. So, I mean, just given how the Cup car is, I almost just kind of negate that, as it just completely changes Michigan and how it drives. But I mean, the Xfinity car, which we saw the other day, as well as this truck, they do have, I mean, while they are different, they do have a relatively similar driving style here at Michigan.
Yeah, they do. So I guess it's something that we can kind of take to our advantage. And, you know, kind of see how this race will play out. Some of the similar aspects between those two vehicles. Obviously, that the Xfinity car does have more power behind it than the trucks do, especially with these new spec motors. But, yeah, the basic line is definitely the same, and could probably take a lot out of Monday's race and implement it the same way.
And does look as such that there is quite amount of cloud cover here over Michigan today, which will bring up the cornering speeds and the overall grip. But again, just kind of the dynamic that iRacing brought us in, I think there was 2018, the final build in December, where we have the day-night transitions, and of course the dynamic sky with the cloud. So as a cloud does cover the sun, track goes into shade, track loses temperature, gains grip, and then of course when that sun comes back out, you have to take account that the track temp will change, and you may be in a different experience when you hit that corner in full sunshine.
Yeah, so you know, one of the cool things about what iRacing has done with this whole dynamic sky, the dynamic track surface combined, is well, cloud cover now. You've got all the grip in the world going through the corners. As soon as that sun wants to peek its head back out, you gotta be careful going into that corner the next time by. Could heat up that surface just enough to where it may affect the handling of your race vehicle.
Yes, it will. And again, where Michigan is such a large facility, over 2 miles, well, not over 2 miles, it is 2 miles, but I have seen before, I think even in the official races on iRacing at this track, that 3 and 4 could be in the shade, 1 and 2 could be in the sun, vice versa. So again, if you have one end of the track in shade, one end of the track in the sun, just makes it even that much more difficult to adjust on the fly to how hard you can approach these corners.
Absolutely correct. So
one thing I didn't get to go over in as much detail as I wanted, I very quickly went through the point standings. I want to bring up the driver point standings one more time. Again, Brandon Holder is your points leader after 4 races in the driver side of things. Robbie Audi in second. Audi, he had a very interesting race at Daytona, but ever since then he has really shown some speed, especially on the short tracks. But again, now that we are on a speedway, he's in that 4th spot, so I'm really thinking that Audi is going to be one to watch over the course of this entire season. That is the DRS Pro Series. And again, as for people who may not be as familiar with the series, remember we have the insurance policy in effect where for every incident that you do incur in the iRacing service, there's a monetary charge to it that comes out of a prepaid deposit, if you will. So essentially, the more money, the more wrecks you get in, the more incidents you cause or are a part of, the more money you are ultimately costing yourself. So now that we come to a speedway where the wrecks are expected to be a little bit lower, these guys may be saving themselves some dimes.
Yeah, absolutely, Corey. But these guys stacked up, doubled up, ready to go green flag racing, this time by once again. So should be interesting to see what happens here on this restart. It's going to be Eddie Curter leading these guys back to the green flag once again in that 2 machine. Pace car ducks off to the safety of pit road. They're on the throttle. Ladies and gentlemen, green flag is back in the air.
Yes, it is. We are back on the green flag racing at Michigan. A couple of trucks shorter of what we had before. Now we have 22 trucks remaining on the track, and that 2 machine of Eddie Curter gets himself a jump over John Houston in the 42. They're going to be side by side from 2 rows further on back of that, Matheson and Audi.
Everything starting to straighten up within the top 4, maybe the top 5 now. The 41 is the last truck to fall in line, and that he does. So it's going to be a little bit of a train back there. I already see the 10 machine starting to make a move back there now. That's one of the SMS trucks.
Yeah, that's Alex McCullum. He did have a win this season, if I remember correctly. Did win the season opener at Daytona, but has not had much luck and has missed a race since then. So he's trying to make a mark by having a good run here. And on the tail end of the top 5, just out of it in the 6th position he is right now. Connor, I will figure out a way to say Connor's last name. I don't want to butcher it, man, so I'm just going to say Connor in that number 41. He's going to be under heat from Alex McCullum entering corner number 3. They're going to be door-to-door for that 5th spot.
Yeah, so now Jimmy Mullis at 96 also making progress down below him. So these guys pitted under green flag. McCullough and Mullis did both. So these guys trying to make their way back up front on the fresher tires. Only about a lap and a half or so. But as we saw on, well, I guess Monday, we can't really compare because there's a lot of fuel. But the new tires do make a difference, even with about a lap or so.
Yeah, at Michigan, I mean, we're not in the Cup car, so, I mean, we'll go on board with the 10. And look at the sun just starting to peek out a little bit, and you can hear how much off throttle they are as we come off corner number 4.
Wrecking ahead of them, I saw smoke. Whoever it was managed to save it.
Yeah, I don't have any imminent, someone must have just got loose there. There's no imminent cause of a caution or anything like that. Everyone does remain up to speed, but again, you saw how much off throttle there is, so there is tire wear in play, as much draft as there is, Brandon. You don't just go flat out here. You will see guys who could save their tires better come to the front of the field on the longer run, as here comes a 21 of Matheson, and he is headed to the inside of the 42 of Houston. That's a battle for your 2nd spot, coming through 3 and 4. And look at the 10 machine going to the top of the track, trying to help the 42.
Those guys riding right up against the outside wall to try to make a move. It's going to be 3 wide for that 2nd position back there now. Jimmy Mullis nowhere to go. He's trying to find a way around. Same thing, McCullough back there in the 10 machine. He's trying to find a way around. He lost a little bit of ground in that whole battle. Mullis right on the back bumper of Matheson. Now he gains his way up to the 3rd position as these guys fight down the back straightaway.
Yes, they are. That 96, he wants to be up front, and that is what his goal is, and that is what he is accomplishing right now. Goes to the inside of Matheson. Mullis is going to check another one off, try to get in that 2nd spot. He's going to clear that 21, go right up the track. One more person on the hit list. That's going to be the 2, but don't think Matheson's done. He's looking down low, and watch out for McCullum, and side by side a little bit further back, 42 and the 44.
Alex McCullum takes a look down low. Now not going to make it work that time by. Looks like a battle back there for about the 5th position back there. Robbie Audi trying to make his way up through the field.
Yeah, Audi is, if anything, I think he may be on the downfall right now. We'll take a look. And you can see here he has been as high as 4th, but down to the 6th spot to the tail end of this lead pack, if you will. So we'll see what he can do. But up front, Kerner has lost that lead. Jimmy Mullis in that 96 trying to make something happen.
Mullis trying to battle for the lead now, down on the low side. The 96 trying to clear the 2 machine. This is for the lead. Eddie Kerner trying to hang on to the outside. He's going to use that momentum side by side down the back straightaway.
Yes, they are. That 96, he's going to have to watch out for his corner entry into number 3, because he's going to have that that 2 up top, but he's actually going to clear him with relative ease, and he's going to come off 4, shut the door, and let's see if that 96 is able to drive off into the distance here at Michigan. But you know, a couple drivers are going to try to make sure that does not happen. But still going through the field, Brandon, you can see all throughout the top 10 we have some side-by-side racing going on. That I saw the 77 of Ryan Doucette trying to take a look on that 14 SMS machine of Blake Neer. That battle has quickly ceased, but again, we still have 20 drivers. Brandon Holder, your points leader, all the way back tail end of the lead lap right now.
McCullum trying to make a move for that 2nd position up there now. Kerner starting to fall back just a little bit. They both slide up the racetrack a little bit on corner entry. Almost a little bit of contact there. Heading down the front straightaway now. The 10 machine on the low side. That's a 2 machine up top. These guys will battle it down into corner number 1.
Yes, they will, and that inside lane is at least where you want to be earlier in the run, which is where we are now, only 15 laps into this race. Is he going to try to clear him off of 2? He did not shut the door, left it open, and then that 2 of Kerner is going to keep that momentum built up and try to stay in this fight. Entering corner number 3, I think later in the race he may have tried to shut the door. Early in the race, kind of play on the cautious side. There he goes with the slide job, with the power move, clears him and move that 10 into 2nd, and 3/10 to go to get to your leader of Mullis.
Yeah, so everything pretty much singled out now. These guys, I think, just riding 100 laps, a long way around the Michigan International Speedway. So these guys really just trying to ride things out, 200 miles to get things done, and only being 16 laps in, they don't want to do anything too risky.
Yeah, and just remember our pole sitter who wasn't, if you will, Doug Lemons. He got the pole and missed the grid, and then tried to get it back, was told that's not going to happen, had to drop back. He's now knocking on the door of the top 10. That's Mark Love in the 43. He is underneath right now. Doug Lemons is trying to make that happen in that DRS Express number 70 to the inside and move him into the top 10. He's only 2.5 seconds off the lead, Brandon, so I mean, he does have quite the competition to get through, but his race is not over.
No, the race is not over, Corey, as the 43 knocking on the rear door of the 70 once again now, but not going to make anything happen. That's on by. Doug Lemons is working his way back up through the field. There's a battle in front of him also. Blake Neer side by side with the 77. That's Ryan Doucette up on the high side.
And Blake Neer to the inside and didn't have the momentum off of the corner. Doucette goes back and cuts the momentum off of Neer, and he will have to find another way around as we do head to lap number 18. And some of these guys stayed out the first time, and a good amount of them did choose to pit, so that's a 4-lap difference. I don't expect tires come into play, but Brandon, we talked about Michigan on Monday, and mind you, the configuration of the race was a little bit different. But Michigan tends to be, once it gets spread out, which for the most part we are right now, it tends to go green, and green flag stops are very common. So in the back of these guys' minds, I think we're about halfway through a fuel run, so you kind of want to start playing that race backwards and trying to plan out your green flag pit stop.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to really start planning that entry to pit road early. That's going to be the biggest factor here of keeping the wheels underneath you on the entry, first of all. And, trying to keep a decent position on track, trying to hold your position or even gain. It's going to all be on that entry and exit to pit road and into your pit box.
Yeah, it is. It's so costly, but to go a little bit too cautious in the pit road under green, trying to make sure you don't speed, you can lose so much time, airing it cautiously, but you can also lose a catastrophic amount of time by going too hard and speeding into pit road. And then, of course, here at Michigan, we do have our iRacing blue cone rule, which, as you follow the 51 of James Curl, the 43 of Love, you can see the apron in turns 1 and 2, and there's that blue cone to your right of your screen, and that is where they can merge. They have to run the apron all throughout turns 1 and 2, cannot safely merge back onto the back onto the racetrack until the exit of 2 on the beginning of the backstretch.
So that's something that these guys really got to watch out for. Everything looking pretty good so far throughout the field, Corey. Don't see really any signs of anybody getting too racy through here.
Well, we have the 70 of Lemons battling our pal Connor in the 41. Lemons trying to get himself into the 8th spot. And just ahead of that, that's Doucette in the 77 and Houston in the 42. Houston was in the top 5 earlier, is starting to fade off as this run continues, and Lemons will clear. The 42 goes around.
The 42 machine.
What a save!
Oh my Michigan.
Oh my Michigan. Well, the PTR TV Good Hands Move of the Race Award is tentatively going to go to the driver of that number 42. Let's go back on a replay and take a look at it. He was around, and then Lemons just really had nowhere to go, and just kind of did the rest of the job for him. So he was already around and then just completely sideways, but able to bring that thing back to the correct direction, and has fallen back to the 16th position. But most importantly for him, he still has a truck. So Doug Lemons in the 70, something has happened to him now. He is on the top of a 3 wide going into the negative direction there. That's Gabe Wood, James Curl getting by, and he had just passed those machines. And I do see, Brandon, a little bit of front end damage to the front of that number 70, so I wonder if that little bit of contact to the rear of the 42 has maybe thrown off the aerodynamics of the handling just a little bit of that number 70 machine.
That's what it's looking like, Corey. I think there was just enough contact made there that it's really upsetting the aerodynamics of that 70 machine, so he's fallen back just a little bit, and I say that he pulls right up to the back bumper of the 00 Gabe Wood.
You can see here from the rear gear cam of Gabe Wood that significant left front damage. That left front significantly kind of battered up in the air just a little bit. And here on these long straightaways at Michigan, that will, when you're behind someone, it may not be that catastrophic because you have that little bit of a draft to kind of, band-aid that damage, if you will. You're not getting as much air on that part of the vehicle. But when he's by himself turning laps, that is where you start to notice any kind of aerodynamic flaws.
Yeah, absolutely. So he's going to try to hang on to it here. Still within the top 10 on the very latter part of the top 10, running that 10th position right now. Gabe Wood just ahead of him, but kind of a cluster of trucks in front of him, Corey.
Yes, indeed. These guys are staying in close proximity. That's Blake Neer and Robbie Audi. Audi with a little bit of a wiggle off corner number 2. That's going to allow that 14 to pull up alongside, and he may try to keep that position to the inside. Entering corner number 3, the 44 will have to run the top of the racetrack, and you can see that 14 trying to cut down there into that apron, and that's a little bit flatter. It's going to be harder to keep the truck in good condition down there, and actually did a pretty admirable job of it and should clear for the spot. Nope, 44 is going to try to pull him back with the side draft on the front straightaway, and just in front of them another battle. That is Doucette and Curl just ahead of this.
Near contact back there between the 44 and the 14, and that upset both of those trucks. Now Gabe Wood knocking on the back door of those guys, trying to find a way around. One truck around on the backstretch. Somehow managed to save it. That was the 43.
Mark Love using every last bit of real estate that Michigan provides to the inside on that paved runoff to the inside of the back straightaway. We'll take a look at what happened. He ran really high off corner number 2, and it got loosey-goosey. It got a little slippy-slidey, but you know what? You know, when there's 85 acres of runoff room to the inside there, you have plenty of space to reel it back in, and he did exactly that.
The 14 and the 44 continue to battle up here. Gabe Wood in the 00 managed to get around both of those guys as they continue to battle it out. There was almost near contact again as we tune back in, but those guys now settle it out. Adi starting to fall back to the field. He's all the way back to 9.
SMS Racing not having the best of results in this 2019 season, so trying to take advantage of that. Gabe Wood, remember at Iowa, he had a very early issue at Iowa out on lap 6 or so, I believe, in a quick incident, and was not at USA last week, so he is here tonight trying to redeem himself with a solid top 10 run early in the race. But you're not missing anything up front. Jimmy Mullis in that number 96, he is up by just under 3/4 of a second over another SMS driver, as I go dyslexic, of Alex McCollum. So again, at 96, you obviously know that name from the NASCAR PK&E Free Series. He's used to running in the best of competition. And I mean, Brandon, I'm just looking at the, we have some behind the scenes stats right now. Jimmy Mullis obviously is that PK&E Free's driver. We all know the I ratings here are very high, and actually Alex McCullum may not be a PK&E Freeze driver or a Pro Series driver, but actually has a higher I rating than Mullis by a quite sizable margin.
The competition in this league is unbelievable, and definitely props to everybody that promotes this league, and a lot of good competition and a lot of close competition throughout the entire field, and it's really impressive to see what a lot of these guys can do.
Yeah, I know there's this league does have a lot of cash payouts towards the end of the season, which obviously does kind of bring the incentive in to see what you can do. And obviously in the top tier of iRacing, the truck doesn't get, I mean, I know it is in the Road to Pro, but these PK&E Freeze drivers, especially in this day and age, Brandon, when you're on those top tier series, I mean, in the Cup car, with all respect to it in this day and age, it doesn't really provide that sensation of going fast and really wheeling it. So, I mean, it's kind of weird to say, but, taking a step back to the truck actually puts a little bit more feeling back in the driver's seat.
Caution flag on the speedway.
John Houston in the 42 around.
42, 15, Slider also involved in that one.
Did Sliding Slider have another slide?
Oh, looks like contact's heading down into corner number 3.
This was a provoked slide, so
heavy contact with the outside safer barrier.
Yeah, the safer barrier did not take too much energy out of that impact. You can see here at the tail end of the field, they were just cruising by themselves and just both going for the same real estate, and that is a hard impact for the 15, and I'm not sure if he's going to be able to recover from that. He did not have terminal engine damage, but the aerodynamics will be severely hindered on that number 15 as we do head under the caution flag, and Mullis will catch that pace car off corner number 2 on lap number 32 as we are just at about 1/3 distance in tonight's race.
So, I do expect everybody to come down pit road for pit stops.
Yep, we are just about 30 laps, give or take, into this fuel stint for the majority of the drivers in the field, so there really isn't going to be much in the way of strategy at this point. It's pretty much going to be 4 tires and fuel from just about everybody. And remember, it is an open setup series, so any kind of adjustments that are necessary, tire pressure, wedge, those are going to be on the table if drivers feel as though they need a little bit of extra help at some point on their race trucks. But here we come into the company of the Michigan Pit Road.
Jimmy Mullis will lead these guys down in the 96 machine. Alex McCollum right behind him. Those have been the 2 fastest guys pretty much as we've seen so far. So these guys just got to make it clean in and out of their boxes with no penalties. The biggest thing about this Michigan pit road. Very long pit road here, so Plenty of opportunity for mistakes.
Plenty of opportunity for mistakes, and we know how difficult it even is just to make sure you don't overshoot your stall, you don't go too far left, too far right, don't want to use any more time than necessary. And here we come out of pit road, and Mullis is not going to win that race down. He is going to lose quite some time. He's going to come out of pit road 4th. Actually, I do see Gabe Wood did not stop in his stall, just passed through the pits. But Jimmy Mullis, I'm looking at the telemetry, Brandon, back end. I don't know if he was just slow in his stall below the speed limit or what, but his pit lane time, as the time from the beginning of cone through his stop to the exit cone, was 2, almost 3 seconds slower than the 3 drivers ahead of him.
Yeah, it was. So I think pit crew to blame for that one.
Yep, so that is definitely the case, but as we are under the caution flag on lap 33, we are going to take a PTR TV side-by-side break, so we will be back with you for the restart, so please stay with us.
6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
And we're back here on PTR TV, round number 5 at the Michigan Speedway for the DRS, the Dreamer Racing Series, with their pro division in the trucks here at Michigan Speedway. So we are getting ready for the restart right now, and Alex McCullum is on the front row right now with James Curl. Not a very good pit stop for Jimmy Mullis, loses 4 spots in the cycle, back to that 4th spot. But here we go through 3 and 4. Brandon getting ready for the restart.
Yeah, Alex McCullum up there in that 10 machine now. 51 machine up there right next to him. That's going to be James Curl up there on the front row. So these guys stacked up, doubled up, ready to go. Green flag racing, and the iRacing pace car ducks into pit road once again. These guys making their way into the Geico restart zone. They fire. Green flag is back in the air.
Yes, it is, and they are sprawling about the front straightaway here, trying to get themselves in position while everyone is under a blanket here, coming through corner number 1. That's 77 to the inside of the 51 of Curl. 77 to Doucette to second, and Doucette's not done. He's right to the back bumper of the 10, trying to get the lead right on the first lap of the restart.
Right on his rear bumper, heading down the back straightaway. Now a potential challenge for the lead this time by heading down into corner number 3. He's going to follow right in the tire tracks of that 10 machine, now drifting back just a little bit into the clutches of the 51. Going to be side by side for the second spot.
Yeah, Ryan Doucette up 11 spots here from the 13th starting position, running in the second spot after that set of pit stops, but that second spot may not last very long because that 51 of Curl trying to take it right back. And then look at Jake Matheson and that 21, he's getting by Mollis. Robbie Audi getting by Mollis. Mollis stuck to that outside lane, losing spots, was first before the restart. Now he's back to tentatively the 6th spot.
Robbie Audi on the low side, trying to gain grounds back. He's going to clear Mullis. Now he's going to go after Matson. 44 is on the moves right now. He's back into the top 5, now up to 4.
Robbie Audi in that number 44. He shut the door on Matheson by a small margin off of 4. A little early in the race for that. He's going to have to keep an eye out for that, because that's the kind of situation drivers do get upset about. But Mullis is trying to regain. Mullis is around!
Oh, hang on to her. 96 down the back straightaway. He's going to loop it. Caution flag is in the air. Slight contact with the inside wall, but nothing to be concerned about. Jimmy Mullis with a long spin down the back straightaway.
There's, what did I say, 85 acres of runoff down there. I think he needed about 86. But,
yeah. If that, maybe a couple of inches.
Yeah, you can see that seam. I talked about that inside seam. This lower groove here at Michigan just does not have as much banking. So if you do hit it the wrong way, see the little bit of right rear impact there. If you do hit it the wrong way, it will, de-wedge the truck and then ultimately send you around. And that is what happened even to the best of the drivers. We all have our moments, so Mullis, he should be able to get it repaired. There's long pace laps here at Michigan, so he should be able to get a good amount of repair done to that machine. But again, we are put under the caution flag, and what is going on with the 96 and the 61? Is the 61, I'm not sure, but the 96 was kind of pushing him off of corner number 2 there.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, Sauter and Hill here at Michigan, I don't know, but I wouldn't expect pit stops. But I mean, that was about a 4-lap green flag run, and I wouldn't expect pit stops, which is why everybody comes down pit road.
So that's the 10 machine of McCullum leading the field down pit road once again. Everybody making their way down again. Clean into your stop, clean out of your stop, and clean off pit road. That's all these guys got to do to hang on or even gain position here. A lot of room for error. These guys really have to be patient on pit road.
Yes, they do. And I mean, if there's going to be a two-tire call from anybody, this would be the time to do it. And Mullis, he missed his pit stop by I don't know what's going on with that 96. He missed his pit stop by about 4. But the 51 will exit pit road first. And I thought we'd see some two-tire calls, as very short as that run was, but not appearing to be the case. Everybody is taking 4 tires on that very short stint. And James Curl is going to be your leader, as we are under caution for what I believe to be, we'll just define it on our race summary, 3rd caution of tonight's race.
3rd caution, 40 laps into it right now. So these guys will stack them back up after a long spin from the 96. Have to see if Jimmy Mullis can make his way back up through the field, given a EOL penalty for cause of caution, of course. So he'll be coming from the very, very back.
Kind of look at the right rear, and it does look like that right rear was very well repaired by that 96 pit crew. I mean, not 100%, but much better than it was. So I wouldn't expect any kind of aerodynamic or damage-related issues hindering that 96. He's just going to need to gain a bunch of time back. But while we do have a break here, let's drag someone into the booth and see how their race is going. I think we have the number 44 of Robbie Audi. Let's do a mid-race interview with him. All right, Robbie Audi, PTR TV, you get a copy, brother?
Yeah, I got you, buddy.
All right, so you've won 2 races this season on the short tracks, but here we are back to the 2 miles, back to the speedways here at Michigan. You got a top 5 truck thus far, about nearly halfway. What are you thinking? What are you feeling out here tonight?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be loose in that long run. I used to like long run competitive. We were really bad in that long run, so we're trying to get this one short run. But we made a couple of adjustments, hopefully it's going to work well with Alex.
Yeah, so obviously you said a little bit free there. You made those adjustments. Do you like the speedways better than the short tracks? I mean, we saw how well you were on the short tracks. Do you have kind of a preference of what style tracks are kind of more better suited for your driving style?
Yeah, you know, I think this Jared designs car is better on the short tracks setup-wise, but I prefer the tracks in space. I use this a lot. So short tracks are my weakness, so I'm looking forward to Michigan.
Yeah, if short tracks are your weakness, well, I don't want to know where your strong suits are, because obviously you did well there and doing well here, brother, so we'll let you back at it. Thanks for talking to us, and hopefully we'll talk to you on the podium later tonight.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
All right, so that was Robbie Audi for TI Racing in the 4th spot. A little bit of audio issues there on his end, but I think we got the better gist of what he was trying to tell us and made some adjustments to that truck. So hopefully he is handling a little bit better for this next run as the light's out on the pace car, and he will get doubled up, stacked up, and ready to go back green flag racing.
Do that again, Corey?
You heard me. A little over-exaggerated in my impression, but whatever. So now that the 96 is not out of it, but he is at the latter end of the field, and we saw that he was up by about a second over the 10 on that longest run we did have. James Curl, which, Brandon, if we're going to date it back, Northeast Racers in the modifieds on PTR TV in the 2017 era. James Curl was dominant in those modifieds.
Right. Now that you mention it, I do remember that name.
James Curl was back when our broadcasts were absolutely terrible. And,
wow, 2017. What a throwback for PTR TV.
Yeah, back when our broadcasts were terrible, which, well, a couple people's eyes every week, they still are. But James Curl leading it down here tonight in that number 51 machine, same number he had back then as well. So we'll see what he can do in command of this field on the restart. Coming off corner number 4 into the Geico restart zone on the throttle, green flag back in the air, and they are a scattering ladder in the field.
They are, and I correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that's Blake Neer that has a bunch of front end damage on him and just couldn't quite get up to speed in that 14 machine, so they scattered around him back there, but everybody off clean and green so far.
Yes, they are. 51 in full command of the field, and Alex McCollum in that number 10. Remember, he was a winner in this season already, trying to go for yet another one here tonight. He has that 77, giving him a little bit of a drafting assistance down the back straightaway, but not enough to make any kind of a move. It was actually last week at USA Alex McCollum won. I said he won at Daytona, but that was Tyler Justice. But here we go, battle for that second spot. He's trying to look to the inside his due set, not enough momentum yet, but that 44 of Audi is right there. Audi, we just talked about him in the interview. He's feeling a little bit more comfortable with his truck and trying to make something happen. But Eddie Kerner, he dropped back. He's trying to get in it as long as his truck can stay on the racetrack.
Looking back also, Corey, is those guys kind of freight training around this place. Someone we haven't talked about yet who just entered the latter half of the top 10, Brandon Holder, making his way up through the field. Yeah,
our points leader, he was at the tail end of the field and hasn't really shown too much here tonight, but that may have just been intentional, just, taking it easy. But whether that is or not. He is in the top 10 now in that 9th spot. Doug Lemons trying to see if he can get up with him, but we do have battling in that top 5. Eddie Curtis to the inside of Ryan Doucette. That
Caution flag on the speedway.
And it is, I see Perry Snelson and Mark Love both having issues.
Oh, man. Jimmy Mullis involved also.
Jimmy Mullis involved? Oh, yeah. What happened there? Was that Gabe Wood as well? Oh, my God.
Those guys, heavy impact, battling through the front stretch, and the 74 would not let Gabe Wood back up off the apron.
And then, oh my God, that impact by the 74 into the 43.
So those guys spun down low, up. Mullis involved. Oh my God.
Yeah, the 74, you can see Wood just took that move to the inside. I think it may have been a little bit of net coding there. Obviously, internet racing does cause that kind of situation every now and then where contact is made. Oh, actually, that may have been legit contact, but
still, you know, those guys. I'm not sure what was going on between those two, but
it's a double-edged sword, Brandon. I mean, I've actually talked about that with our partner Evan Black, where
absolutely it is. Entering that low in the corner, you know, to begin with was not going to be great. But the point of contact set those guys both down low, and yeah, that was awful wreck up at the top of the racetrack.
It's the double-edged sword of, I mean, obviously here at Michigan, the apron is not, you know, illegal as if we were at a plate track, Talladega or Daytona, as everyone does come to pit road. The apron is not illegal, but it technically is still off of the track. So if somebody goes down there, they aren't automatically granted space back up. You have to give it to them. But if you don't, then you're risking what we just had. So sometimes you don't want to give space, but sometimes it's better to give space and still have a truck at the end of the day. So it's kind of pick your poison. But regardless of that, we had a wreck and everyone to pit road.
One driver kind of juking everybody out and staying out. Ryan Doucette, that 77 machine, he opted to back out at last second and stay out behind the pace car. So looks like it will be the 51 machine. James Curl coming out, winning that race off pit road.
Yes, he did, and we'll see if Doucette is going to pit, and maybe he was just going for the lap lead, pulling up the telemetry. This was the first lap. He did lead, so we'll see what happens in that regard. He is a fast truck, so if he does pit this time by Brandon, he's a fast truck, but he's going to lose a bunch of track position that he had, and I mean, we know how hard it is to get it back, so we'll see how it does play out. If he does pit, then he's going to lose it all. If he doesn't pit, well, he's probably going to lose it all. So I'm a little nervous for the well-being of the 77 right now.
Well, thankfully, we didn't have that long of a run, so looks like he is going to bring it down to pit road this time by wanting the extra point for laps led. Yeah, he's going to have a long way back up through the field.
Yes, he will. As we let's see what the pace car does choose to do for us. If lights do go out, they do not. So while we are on a mid-race break, if you will, Brandon, I mean, I know you've been doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes on your own personal accord with your company. So while we have the time here mid-broadcast, how about you give yourself a little shout out, what you like for what you're up to these days?
Well, put me on the spot. So yeah, a lot of stuff with Fame Motorsports. Try to expand with more into a brand-esque type deal, I guess. A lot of social media management, a lot of different stuff going on, marketing. Trying to get my name out there. So I guess if anybody's interested, famemotorsports.com. We're more than just apparel, way more than just apparel at this point. As a matter of fact, that's not even our main focus anymore. So, you know, a lot of people are really drawn towards the marketing, and that's really where we've expanded. So,
and, we'll just give our sponsors a little more prime time, no pun intended, mid-broadcast. Air Movement Fabrications, a longtime partner with our channel here, of course based out of the UK, but they do a lot of good work with metal and basically can construct anything. So give them a shout out, give them a Facebook like on behalf of PTR TV. And our cameras today are brought to you by TrackCams 4 Gourmets, Esteban below. You can check out his work, trackcams22.com, and you can have these views at home, or, well, of course at home, but for your own entertainment, which even just doing replays and such, these views are just absolutely phenomenal. So given that, we do have lights out on the pace car, so just at about lap number 50 we are coming to right now. I'll give you a little bit of a rundown of where your favorite driver may be running. James Curl leading it down on the front row with Alex McCollum, who has led 7 laps in the second spot. Robbie Audi in third, Eddie Kerner in fourth, Jake Matheson in fifth, Connor is in sixth until I get further pronunciation of his name. His name is Connor. Brandon Holder is in seventh, Doug Lemons in eighth, Rob Slider, haven't talked about him, but he's in the ninth spot right now, having a good run. Charles Lahr in 10th, Frank Morales in 11th, Ryan Campbell in 12th, Gabe Wood, after that being a part of that last caution, still in the 13th spot, Ryan Doucette in 14th. Blake Neer trying to catch up in 15th, and that's all we have left, Brandon. We have James Milbacher with damage. Mullis is behind the wall. Love behind the wall. Snelson. Slider is actually on the track 9 laps down. Dustin Slider is. And then we have John Houston, Tyler King, Evan Black, Ryan Blanchard, Chris Canfield, Alec Daffin, and Doc Stout all out of the race already. So attrition has hit the Michigan Speedway rather hard tonight.
Yeah, going back to Gabe Wood real quick, he didn't really get that much damage out of that whole deal, so top 10 truck, he still could have a good run for him tonight. Nevertheless, 51 machine James Curl gonna lead these guys back to the green. Pace car ducks into the safety of pit road this time, but these guys heading into the Geico restart zone and firing as early as he could. James Curl, green flag back in the air.
Yes, it is. Curl with the significant jump there by about 2 or 3 truck lengths over Alex McCollum, and then Robbie Audi right off the get-go trying to go and take that second spot. He's going to take it all the way down to the flat, all the way against the apron, that yellow line. You can get away with it now that we're not up to full speed here on the restart. Takes it to his advantage, and Robbie Audi moves up into the second spot.
Don't look now. These guys almost took him 3 wide. Here comes the 10 machine down low into corner number 3. They're going to be side by side for the second position.
That 10 really has to watch out. Very easy to get loose when you're pinched that down to the inside. But did a very good job with truck control there. Robbie Audi trying to draft back to him, pull door to door on the front straightaway. And then right behind him, Eddie Kerner has some momentum build up, but has nowhere to go with it. Kerner in the 2 is just going to try to wait to see which line prevails. Oh, look at the 4, look at the 10 crossover, 44 to the inside.
44, still going to be side by side down the back straightaway. Robbie Audi got cleared and he swung it down to the low side. Now heading down through corners 3 and 4 this time round. Here comes Kerner in the 2 machine.
Hard racing here, just past the halfway point in the Forgotten Eagles 200 here for the DRS Pro Series. We've had a lot of attrition, but a lot of good racing still up front. These guys going for it very hard here. Lap 52 on the board. Eddie Kerner to the inside of Alex McCollum, as we do have the 44 of Audi trying to take a peek for the lead.
Here comes the 44 machine. He was falling back earlier through the field, but now right back up front where he belongs. The 44 machine pounding on the back bumper to 51 now. Down into corner number 3, trying to wait and gain momentum. Couldn't quite do it that time around. See what happens down the front stretch here. See who can get the bigger shot of momentum, but look out, Audi's got company once again behind him.
Yeah, Robbie Audi in that number 10 machine of Alex McCollum, he is right there. Eddie Kerner, these guys just up in the top 5. They're just so evenly matched. I mean, we've seen some drivers able to pull away. I don't see it. I don't see anybody in this lead pack right now that just really has, a substantial advantage over anybody else. So they're just really back and forth in their endeavors right now, trying to break the draft and swerving down the straightaway. But Audi will have none of that. He's going to take a look to the inside for the lead. Alec McCollum is going to try to get something worked up with momentum here off a fork. Watch out, Curl. There's a wall up there. Barely gets into it. Loses a bunch of momentum.
Aggressive move from the 10 machine also to try to get above the 44 for the lead. Not going to work that time round. They're going to head down into corner number 1. Curl falls back to all the way to the 5th position now as the top 4 is going to clear him. He got up in the loose stuff and he lost a ton of momentum up there. Managed to keep it off the wall though. That's the important thing. He should be able to get back up there, but Robbie Oddie up there has company once again. McCullum right on his back bumper. Kerner right behind him.
That 10, it seems as if he's faster right now, but it could just be, you know, just the way the draft works and having the air at the right times, just getting the runs. But either way, however it is working, he is right there putting some significant pressure on Oddie, and just you can see that it's going all over, trying to juke each other out, trying to get the right arc, trying to set each other up for the best opportunities. And off of corner number 2, the 44 is going to hold off thus far. Kerner just trying to see what he can do, and you can see we have about a little breakaway of about 9 trucks. Doug Lemons at the tail end of it right now.
So these guys all battling. It looks like here comes Cottereau in the 41 machine now, coming around Matheson. They're going to be side by side, almost 3 wide. Here comes the 5 of Holder.
Yeah, Brandon Holder just playing sleeper in this race, trying to get his way up front, but look at the battle for the lead going on at the same time. 44 is to the outside of the track right now. That 10 is to the inside, but momentum just not in the favor of the 10 on the inside of the track. He's going to fall back in line, try to do it again, but there goes Ryan Doucette trying to make a power move to the inside of Doug Lemons.
Yeah, these guys fighting hard all the way through the top 10 right now. Now, battle for the second.
He might have him. He might have. Oh, not quite. The 10 was trying to get to the outside of the 44, but thought he had the momentum. He did not have it, so had to fall back in line, and he's going to try to set him up one more time. That 2 is really close to the back bumper of the 10. There may be a little bit of a push that could help that 10 figure something out, and he has a run. He's going to look to the inside. Here comes the 2 of Kerner. He's trying to go to the outside and pin the 10 of McCullum to the inside groove.
Side by side for the lead once again. Now the 2 machine right up on the back bumper of Oddie up on the high side. These guys gonna battle it out nose to nose now down the front straightaway. It's gonna be Oddie that led that lap that time by. Now a lap car, that's Slater in front of them.
Dustin will go high and out of the way, causes no issue to your battle for the lead, and that 10, he had a good 3/4 of a truck length clear of the 44 through the center of 1 and 2, but the exit of the corner is always going to be the issue, and the 2 of Kerner bump drafting the 44, trying to give him that momentum that will allow the 44 to clear the 10. The 10 still has the 2 to the outside, but
Kerner got loose on corner entry. He's going to lose ground now. Here comes James Curl again.
And just as we thought the 51 was starting to drop back, he's not out of it at all. He's only 3 truck lengths back, and he is he going to clear the 2 of Kerner? Kerner is going to try to hold the whisker to the outside of the racetrack, but I think that Curl will have that opportunity to clear entering corner number 1, and you can see the 10 of McCullum. Here he comes once further off of corner number 2. He's going to get to the back bumper, and he doesn't want to get to the inside. He wants to get to the outside. That's what's going to pin the 44 down and give him the best chance to pass. Well, the hard thing about that is it's really hard when the 44 knows that, and he's trying to block that run.
Those guys both drift up to the high side. Now they block down low. Now here comes the 10 to the outside. That's exactly what he needed. Is he going to be able to stay there on corner entry? Entry to 1 now.
Didn't have enough.
Not quite going to be able to get there. He can't drift up too high. He doesn't want to get into the loose stuff. Now here comes James Curl looking at the left side.
There was contact from the 10 to the 44 there, but he backed off, let him hold on to the truck because that would have been bad otherwise. And now Curl is going to take that opportunity, go to the inside of Kerner, and Curl might try to split it 3 wide and inadvertently go to the inside of the 10 at the same time. But Kerner's going to have the momentum from the top of the track. He is going to most likely fend off the run from the 51. And McCullum trying to look around, trying to figure something out once again, but still has not been able to get by Oddie, who's playing very good defense.
4 trucks under a blanket, just past the halfway point in this race. 40 laps to go here at the Michigan International Speedway. You'd think it was 2 to go with the way that these guys are racing.
Yes, it is. And remember, we're still going to have plenty of pit stops left in this race. Well, plenty in terms of at least one, as we have 40 to go.
Oh, look out, Kerner.
Yeah, Kerner's going to get loose. He's going to lose a catastrophic amount of positions, at least 5 or 6. But here comes McCullum again to the inside. He's going to pull door to door, and this is where he hasn't been able to figure out this part, center off. That's where you get bogged down on the inside groove, and especially the 44 pinching him down, and he falls back in line.
That could have been catastrophic for the both of them. McCullum got loose down on the inside and managed to catch you just before he made contact with a 44. Now here comes a 51 right up to the back bump of a 44.
Yes, he does, and that 44, he hasn't had a challenge from the 51, but look at the 51. He got a really good run off of 4. That 10 of McCullum's going to give the draft, give him the push to the 51. He's going to be in a good position as the slow car of that slider, I believe, goes high and wide, but I think that 51 has really good position. He might be able to clear if he shuts the door, and he shuts the door.
New leader once again, James Curl back out on front of this thing. So Rabbiati and Alex McCullum going to be behind them. The top 3 are dead even at this point in the race. So these guys have been fighting each other pretty much this whole time to try to lead laps here. As McCullum is going to be right on the back bumper, now going to try to duck underneath the 44, and Curl is loving what he sees in his mirror right now. Yeah, because Curl is going to be able to pull ahead and use this opportunity to pull away and try to get out of the draft range, try to get this, run his own race. And I mean, while this all goes on, Braden, look who has pulled into the 4. Our buddy Connor O, Ryan Doucette, 4th and 5th. Kerner losing all that momentum. He's back to 7th, and Brandon Holder is trying to even take that from him, put him back to 8th. So just think of how much tire these guys were using, particularly the 44 and the 10. I mean, I wonder if these guys are going to start falling back just because they're not going to have too much left on their Goodyears after all that hard battling. Yeah, I'd have to wonder the same thing. So, looks like McCullum is able to clear for that 2nd spot now and battle for the 4th position back here. Ryan Doucette clears Connor O. Ryan Doucette in that number 77, trying to make some progress here. Remember, he led that 1 lap earlier by staying out on the caution, and we kind of gave him a little bit of flack for that, but he was able to recover from it, running in the top 5. And one thing I do want to do, we haven't paid too much attention to tonight, I want to pull up the laps and just try to see who is the fastest now that everyone's single file. Last time by, it was Curl by over a 10th, but as they crossed the stripe to take lap number 66, times come in, and Curl is the fastest at a 42, McCullum with a 48, and by far, by about 2/10, they have the remainder of the field covered. Eddie Kerner, 3rd fastest, but he's back in 7th right now, and he's battling side by side with our buddy Connor O. Yeah, so those guys continuing to battle it out as these guys going to head high around the lap truck of Blake Neer. Blake Neer was battling up the top 10 earlier, but extensive front end damage on that 14 machine now. So those guys got to remain side by side, 3 wide around the lap truck. Brandon Holder trying to gain ground once again. He's all the way back to that 8th position right now. Yeah, it just makes you wonder. I mean, Brandon Holder, he started at the back and hasn't really just made much progress. I mean, maybe it's just not a setup thing, not really, just grasping this track, or just not having the feel for it. I know myself, Michigan's never really been one of my strong suits. I'm personally just not really a momentum track guy. I'm really more of a driver, a driver has to wheel it type track, hashtag Martinsville. But he's doing his best with all the attrition. I mean, it's really helping him out. He could still very easily pull off a top 5. And as I talk about driver tracks, Brandon, I do look at our schedule. And, next week's race, I mean, you want a good result here, because next week we are heading across the border, turning left and right as we head to Mossport. So if you're not a road guy, you better have a good run here this week. Yeah, absolutely. So in Mossport, a very unique track for these trucks, and it's a whole different package from last year, Corey. These guys really gonna have to practice this week, really gonna have to set up their trucks right, because they're gonna have a lot less power as they did last year going into this thing.
Yeah, and that's actually going to help, because that just takes away a lot of the wheel spin scare, because you're not going to be hitting the RPMs that we were hitting before. So these drivers will appreciate that. But again, that is 1 week away, so you can stay tuned to PTR TV next week on June 26th if you're watching this live, and take a look at it then. But that's Jake Matheson in that number 21 machine. He's looking to the inside of Robbie Audi, and Audie's going to roll over and give it to him. As I talked about earlier, maybe something to do with burning up the tires in that battle with McCullum, and a significant cloud comes over the speedway. Very dark here at Michigan, and that is going to, well, I'll cut that thought in half, because caution flag on the speedway. And
caution flag is out.
Something with the 14, I'm triggered to say with my telemetry. It's the only thing that I can see is 14 of Blake Neer. He expired an engine and pulled off the track. And typically at Michigan, all of that runoff space would not count as. It did with Jimmy Mullis, Corey. So that could have most definitely been the cause of caution. Michigan on the iRacing service was just updated a couple months ago. And on the older version of Michigan, anything that was off of the racetrack would not be considered. It would not be considered for caution. So if you had anything happen down there on that pavement, it'd be perfectly fine. But perhaps the coding different, so that is maybe deemed a little bit more part of the track. So parking down there may have triggered that caution. So green flag stops are not going to be a thing. And here we come down pit road with 30 laps to go. So Blake Neer expiring knee engine was the cause of caution. James Curl going to lead these guys on and hit your marks and your pit stalls. And I know I've said it every time, but it is extremely important here at Michigan. Yes, it is, and we've seen how difficult passing is, even with the faster truck. Oh, what? A little bit of something going on with Mattson on pit road. A little bit of something going on. I saw that 21 machine going around on pit road. Yeah, we're going to take a look at that. I did see it out of the corner of the eye. We'll get it on the further onto the replay. He was entering his he got hit by Robbie Audi. And oh man, and he got hit and then hit the wall there, and that's a lot of damage to the rear end of that truck, and I imagine the 44 had some front end damage from that too. Yeah, that was not a light contact there, so take a quick look at Audi if we can, and well, I could see that left front is crinkled up. Not substantially, so he may come back in for a repair. He's 12th right now. I mean, there's only 14 guys on the lead lap. There's nothing to lose in coming to pit road this time by, but we'll see if he does choose to do that, as we are under caution for, I believe it to be the 5th time here tonight. So we will step aside for our final side-by-side of the race and be back with you for the final run to the checkers, so please stay with us.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Michigan International Speedway. Lap 73 of 100 here, coming back for the restart. These guys stacked up, doubled up, and ready to go back. Green flag racing this time by Alex McCullum. Won the race off pit road. It's going to be James Curl starting to his outside. So these guys are ready to get going once again.
Yes, we are ready to go back. Green flag racing. We saw that 10 try so hard to get the lead. Well, now he has it. He's going to have to fend off what we know to be a fast number 51 truck. He didn't get going on the restart very well, but long run, that 51 is definitely quick, so we'll see if there's enough laps for him to play it off. And green flag back in the air. That number 21 of Matheson, something happened to him at the tail end of the field.
Yeah, so Matheson had issues on pit road.
Got really loose there on the restart, but he is still continuing back in the 14th spot, well off of the main pack, so he's gonna need another caution to get himself back into contention. But we do have Doug Lemons in the number 70, and you remember your pole sitter who never got to enjoy the benefits of being the pole sitter. He is in 8th, trying to pass Eddie Kerner for 7th, but I go up to the front of the pack, and again, top 3 of that trio, they are, you can tell, ready to pounce once more.
Yeah, these guys battling it out once again. The 77 found his way up at the top 3 now, and we're kind of in the same situation as we were before. The top 3 pulling away, and look who made his way into the top 5 now. Brandon Holder back there, your points leader in the 5 machine.
Yeah, Brandon Holder, I mean, is kind of playing sleeper and playing attrition, and he has himself in good position right now. And we'll see if maybe he has that truck tweaked to where he needs it, to where he can maybe challenge these top 3 guys.
So, Corey, we've seen some fast guys get taken out of contention for this race already. So, you know, kind of an interesting scenario up front now where we've seen some guys where we didn't think we'd really see up front before.
Yeah, it is. That's just how racing works out. Sometimes you got to be good, sometimes you got to be lucky. Well, sometimes you can be both, and well, those are the best case scenarios. But at the latter end of it, at least be lucky. And I don't want to say Holder's lucky. I know he obviously everyone puts a lot of work into their trucks, but he hadn't shown the speed. But he seems to be in a good position, so maybe he's going to be able to pounce and take advantage of it. But someone trying to take advantage of position is that number 51, and we saw him be competitive at the end of that run, Brandon. He started to pull away, so I'm wondering if, well, we have 24 laps to go right now, so if you're Curl, do you want to wait for your truck to come in, or are you going to, you know, rush, try to get by as quickly as possible?
I think patience is going to be the biggest thing here, Corey. It's, you know, the 51, you know, you don't want to burn your tires off too quick because, you know, you still got 24, 23 laps to go here, so I think the biggest thing, wait for the truck to come in a little bit, see what happens with the 10, keep the pressure on, don't fall back, but see what happens is McCullum got a little piece of that outside wall there on entry.
Yes, he did, but it didn't really seem to hinder him. If anything, he might have pulled away a little bit, surprisingly. Go back a little bit further. Connor in the 41 all the way down there to the apron as he was trying to make a move on, I believe it to be Eddie Kerner, but got loose and used all the real estate up, but didn't lose too much momentum in the process. He's going to stay ready for another run at it.
Yeah, he will. Kerner drifts up high off the corner and manages to hold his ground there. Doug Lemons. Look at Gabe Wood making a comeback from an earlier incident, that 00. He's all the way up to the 8th position now.
Yes, he is. Remember, he was in the back. He had that issue with the 74, got that truck repaired. Didn't really have too much damage with it in the first place, but, you know, just taking advantage of, you know, again, the attrition, just taking advantage of the situation he's in. He's in 8th, and, I mean, he has some drivers right in front of him, so he's going to be realistically able to knock off a couple more spots. You can see he got a really good run off of 4 there, close in further on the 70, so. But we are on 22 laps to go. We have 14 drivers on the lead lap, the last one being that number 21, and you can see the rear end damage, Brandon. I almost want to say, I saw that 21 get really upset on the restart. I'm led to believe he got rear-ended with how the rear end of that machine looks, and he's rather slow and off the pace in 14th.
Remember, a lot of that damage, Corey, is from that contact on pit road.
Oh yeah, very true. Completely neglected that contact with Robbie Audi. And Audi has not really been able to fully recover from it either. He's in the 10th position right now, and I'm just looking at the lap graph, and I'll pull it up for people at home, and 39.78, and you can see up front, well actually, I better take that back, Brendan. He wasn't that much slower. That lap, he was 2/10 off the pace of the guys up front, so might have just been track position lost by Audi trying to repair that truck, but a truck that could have won the race is going to struggle to fit a top 10 here tonight.
Side by side for the lead down the back straightaway. James Curl up top trying to take the lead away from McCollum. McCollum down low. Doucette behind them trying to find some place to go. He's switching between lanes now.
Yep, and the lapper is going to be just ahead of this. He's going to go high and out of the way. Again, Dustin Slider, earlier issues in tonight's race, but up front, here we go. McCollum, he's been to the inside before. We've seen this ball game happen many a time before, and he was never able to get by on that inside groove. But look at that 77 of Doucette. He's going to fill the gap in up top. That's where the 10 wants to be.
Look out, 10.
He doesn't want to be down there.
Loose.
He doesn't want to be down there, but he does a good job to hang on to it. Loses the one spot, but he's still right on the bumper of these guys to challenge for the win. So James Curl in that 51 is going to take a deep breath and be able to survive the challenge for one more lap.
McCollum got really loose there that time, high down the back straightaway. I think just as a result of being underneath the 77 machine, but both of those drivers will take advantage, and James Curl, your new leader, once again out front.
Yes, it is, and for the DRS Barber Ford team, who really hasn't had the runs they would like as a team this season, having James Curl be up front and potentially in a position to win this race is going to be very good for their team efforts, as they are, I mean, they're 5th in points now. So in the team standings, remember, in the team standings, the top 2 drivers from each team will be the one to score points for that team in that specific race. So obviously leading the points is going to be a big thing. Obviously Evan Black joining the team in tonight's race, and well, Evan Black did not have the best of nights. I think his race ended a third of a lap into it, so a good run on the docket for Barber Ford Racing in this race, but we'll see. There's still 17 laps, 34 miles of action, and I'm just scrolling through the remainder of the field, Evan, and well, this is Brandon, and this is the closest.
I'm not Evan.
Yeah, Evan wins races, but top 3 is the closest battle on the track remaining right now, all separated by a 10th or 2. Everybody else pretty much in their own little bubble at this point. Rob Slider, he is trying to pass Robbie Audi. Really haven't given much time to that 13 machine tonight. Nice kind of clean and out of the way race for the 13 of Rob Slider, seeing if he can take that top 10 spot away from Robbie Audi.
Yeah, so those guys battling it out back there. Still going to be nose to tail now. The 13 of Rob Slider going to be trying to look down low, going to lose a little bit of momentum through corners number 3 and 4 that time by.
Yes, he is, and he will just kind of contain himself there, as again, here comes the battle for second, 10 to the inside. If he can figure out how to make this inside work, I think that 10 machine has this race won. I think he is faster, but just passing to the inside is really difficult as he gets loose off of 2.
Yeah, loose off of corner number 2 once again. He's going to lose that little bit of ground that he had, and 77 going to prevail off the high side once again. Again, top 3 pretty much under a blanket right now, Corey.
And the thing is it doesn't just lose him time. That slowly does start to eat at the tires every time he gets loose, as again, he's going to try it once more to the inside of the track. Wash, rinse, repeat. We've seen this about countless times tonight. Can he make it work? He has really good position. He's further ahead of the 77 than he's been many a time so far. He's maybe going to be able to shut the door on him. Yes.
I have no doubt in my mind that this 10 of Alex McCollum is probably the fastest truck on the racetrack right now. It's just passing at this racetrack on the low side is so difficult for these guys, and Well, next step for him to get up to that 51 machine of James Curl.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, we've seen it even in the real world, Michigan, Brandon. This track they repaved this place back in 2012, and even in the real world, I mean, the old Michigan era, 2011 on back, you could literally run from the inside groove all the way up to the fence. But for some reason, this new pavement that they've put on Michigan Speedway, and it's reflected in iRacing as well, the groove is just very low to the track, maybe a lane and a half tops, and really just makes any kind of upper groove passes maybe not impossible, but just very difficult.
Yes, it does. So everybody kind of separating now, Corey, as I think these guys have worn their tires in just a little bit.
Yep, so now the challenge is going to be is on the lap chart. I can tell you that Curl was about 3/4 of a tenth faster than McCollum last time by. Saw a big slide from McCollum there in 3 and 4, as I am trying to pay a little bit of attention to the conditions here at Michigan Speedway. It does look like 3 and 4 is in brighter sunshine than in 1 and 2, so that will add to the track temp. You can see the bright sunshine there on the track. That will make 3 and 4 just a little bit slicker. 1 and 2 does seem to have a little bit more shade over it, not in as much sunshine, so a little bit more grip available there. Again, the dynamics of how each end of the track does drive differently.
James Curl is still pulling away from that 10 machine lap after lap.
We do have a battle, Brandon, for I want to catch the sixth spot. That's Gabe Wood in the 41. Wood was able to clear him in corner number 2, but Connor in the 41 is going to do for the crossover. He's going to go to the inside in corner number 3. Wood is going to try to pinch him down, and the caution is going to come out. That is going to change everything. Jake Matheson to the inside of the racetrack in corner number 2, and looks like he will park it.
Yep, all by himself, and I think it has a lot to do with that rear end damage, Corey. He just got loose and spun it around down in the middle of the track, and a couple of trucks taking some... Oh, the 97, Frank Morales got involved. Heavy contact with the outside wall, trying to avoid.
Yeah, Morales went all the way to the inside, and I think when he was just trying to get himself back onto the track, he just maybe swerved a little bit too quickly to the right and ended up terminally damaging his truck. So this will put us in a position. Now, as far as I was told, which was, this update was 2 weeks ago, and I wasn't told anything different since then, so I'm assuming it's still the case. Green-white checkers are not enabled for this series, as I know. So we're gonna go green, most likely with 6 to go. And given that being the case, I think that we can confirm this will be the final restart, or very close to it. I'm almost positive it will be. So this is going to be the money stop. I don't expect any 2 tires. We've been out there for quite some time. It's going to be 4 tires and fuel, and you have to nail this stop.
So James Curl going to lead these guys down.
On into the pits. We saw some issues with pit road last time by, with the guys getting spun around, making some contact, missing their stalls. So far from what I can see, everybody has a clean shot down into the pits. We'll see who does win the race off of pit road. Is it going to be the 51? It looks like he will. No, he won't. 77 of Ryan Doucette is going to win the race off pit road. And I'm looking at the telemetry, Brandon, and it's going to solely go down to the pit crews. Nearly a 1 second faster pit stop for that number 77 crew.
Yeah, so interesting. This is going to be a really interesting restart, Corey.
You're going to have fresh tires, so you're going to be able to make a little bit more erratic moves. I mean, like I said, we're only going to have to go about 7 or so laps, but just remember, as I said, we don't have green-white checkers in this series, so